are in the middle of Africa, and this mama zebra is giving birth to its baby. And the baby is born and it's loving life. It's enjoying the grass, it's enjoying the sun, and it's just rolling around having a good time. And then the mom says, baby, get up. You need to learn to walk and run right now. And just like any baby, it doesn't listen to its mom, and so he ignores her. And then the mom intensifies her voice and says, baby, get up. You need to learn to run right now. And so the baby says, Mom, I was born 5 minutes ago. Why do I need to go run right now? And the mom responds, because if you don't learn to run right now, the lions are going to eat you alive. Now, I know what you're thinking, Doc, that's a really cute story, but we don't have any lions running around here. But we do have the lions of heart disease. We have the lions of cancer. We have the lions of diabetes. We have the lions of these preventable illnesses that are robbing people of their lives, of their joy, and it leaves families wondering why. So the goal today is for you and your family not just to run from these diseases, but run towards energy, vitality, run towards health. And so that's why we made this video for you. Because for the next 20 minutes, you will discover the most effective way, the most natural way, and most efficient way, cost-efficient way to improve your health and dramatically reduce the need for drugs or surgery. But I want to invite you to take notes, because the information shared in this video will be critical for you to maximize your care here in the office. I am so glad you're already making the steps and investing in your health. But let me share with you why I'm so excited for you to hear this information. See, Ellen and I, as we were dating through high school and through college, her migraines became more and more frequent, to the point of she would have them actually more often than not. She would have a migraine 5-6 times a week. And they were so bad that she would actually have to leave class, go to her dorm room, shut the blinds, close the curtains. She was done. And through the process of figuring out what's causing these migraines, why are they affecting her this much, we saw a neurologist. And unfortunately, the neurologist looked at Ellen and said, Ellen, I'm sorry about your luck, but you're going to have to deal with this for the rest of your life. And I watched my wife cry herself to sleep every single night due to the lack of hope, but also because the migraines were that debilitating. And as a man, watching the love of my life needlessly suffer was the most defeated and powerless I've ever felt in my life. And as we went through this struggle of Ellen's migraines, we kind of found out that health is the most important asset that we all have. Because if you lose your health, what else do you lose? Everything. Because if you look at someone and they have symptoms, they're deemed unhealthy. And if that's true, then the opposite has to be true. If you do not have any symptoms, they are healthy. And is that necessarily true? And with that mindset and that thinking, do we live in a healthy or sick country? Sick. Take a look at these stats. Cancer kills over 1,500 Americans daily. And heart disease, that is responsible for over 34% of all deaths in the United States. And then there's a Johns Hopkins study stating that 250,000 people die from medical errors every year. And there's some other studies that show this number to be up to 440,000 lives are taken. But here's the thing. When you think about health, why is this such an issue is because there's two things that people don't realize. One is that there is a lack of responsibility. People are not taking responsibility for their own health. So the question I have for you is, who is responsible for your health? Is it your spouse? No. Is it the doctor? No. Is it McDonald's? What about insurance companies? No. It's us. We are responsible for our health. Now, the other factor in this that leads to destruction in people's health is we have the wrong map. Now, this is like you're driving in Louisville and someone gives you a Chicago map. Is that going to be very helpful? No. And that's what people tend to think. Lifestyle has such a huge role in our health, but people tend to think, well, I'm healthy if I look good or if I feel good. And those are all good things, but is that the roadmap that we all need to be on? No. Because there's marathon runners that die of heart attacks. They look good, they feel good. There's bodybuilders who are dying of strokes and they look good, they feel good. So we have the wrong roadmap. And speaking of the roadmap, let's talk about health. So health, by definition, is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease. And so, what does that mean? Health is function. And so if we put function on a scale from 0 to 10, or to 100, 100 being 100% health, ultimate vitality, vitality and energy, and then 0, we're pushing up daisies. And experts will tell us that you have to lose as much as 40% of function to start feeling symptoms, for disease to start setting in. And when that happens, we have 3 options. We can either ignore it, we can either do the American way of every pill, every potion, every lotion known to mankind is in America. And I will tell you, your headaches is not due to a lack of aspirin. Or the third option is we can find the cause and start heading back towards health, towards vitality. But finding the cause is what we were on a journey of. And back in my hometown, there is a gentleman, Dr. Morrow. He's a chiropractor that went to my church, my hometown church. And we got to talking one day about the profession, and he was really excited to just share with this young college student about his profession, and I was excited to learn about a new career. And then he started talking about the migraine cases that he has helped. And that really perked my interest because Ellen's migraines. And so with resistance from both sets of our families, mine and hers, we took Ellen to the chiropractor. And he took x-rays. He found out what's going on. He saw these misalignments in Ellen's neck, and he started making corrections. And to my amazement, 2 weeks into care, her migraines were cut in half. She started smiling again. A few more weeks down the road, her migraines gone. That chiropractor literally gave me my wife back. So right then and there, I decided that is what I'm going to do. I want to give people their loved ones back, because I have the peace of mind knowing Ellen is going to never suffer with those migraines like she used to. So let's talk about subluxations. Let's talk about the nervous system, because what controls every cell, every organ, every tissue in your body? That's your brain. Now, your brain is constantly and consistently sending these mental impulses down the spinal cord and it's branching out to your entire body. And the signals go back up to the brain. So there is always this communication cycle, and you need free of interference for that communication to work. So let's talk about the nervous system just for a little bit. You have the brain, and those nerves in your neck go to your eyes, nose, ears, and throat. The mid-back, those nerves are going to your heart, your lungs, your stomach. Your lower back is going to the large and small intestine and your reproductive organs. Now, in order for your spine to work how it should, you need to have these three curves in here. And the reason why is it is a shock absorber and allows the openings that you can see on the screen here to allow those nerve roots to go out free of interference and allows that communication to continue to flow. So you can see if there's an interference, subluxation, a disconnect, how that can wreak havoc on the organs previously mentioned. Now let's talk about Christopher Reeves. You probably remember him as Superman. He was a famous Superman many years ago, and he was horseback riding, had an accident, and he landed on his head and dislocated the top bone in his neck, which then has led to paralysis, but also he's had to use a breathing tube, and someone has had to massage his bowels for his bowels to work when he was alive. Did he land on his heart or his lungs? Did he land on his large intestine? No. He landed on the top bone in the neck, cutting off the nerve flow from brain to the rest of the body. So you can see this is a severe case of disconnect between the brain and the body. But let's talk more about nerve interference. So let's say you have a disconnect, or the dimmer switch is on the mid-back going to the pancreas. Now your pancreas, that is your sugar metabolizer. So if there is a disconnect there, are the new cells that are constantly forming in your body, are the new cells in the pancreas, are they going to form right? No. And if they don't form right, are the new cells, are they going to produce the insulin like it should? No. And if it doesn't produce the insulin like it should, can you see how someone could develop diabetes? Now, what if we get that pressure off of the nerve and the new cells form right? And then that new cell, those new cells produce the insulin like it should, and diabetes reverses, or heart disease reverses, or colon disease reverses. All these things reverse because your body is actually designed to heal itself without nerve interference. So let's talk about how you can get subluxations, misalignments in your spine. So the 3 T's is how we use this analogy: trauma, toxins, and thoughts. So trauma, those are physical stressors. So you fall out of a treehouse or a car accident, or you sit with bad posture day in, day out. Or toxins, it's the air we breathe, the food we eat, or thoughts. The way we think about ourselves, the way we think about our job, our environment, our situation can wreak so much havoc on our spines because the cortisol levels rise, the hormone imbalance. This is the biggest cause to subluxations. But let me show you. See, Ellen was an amazing violinist. She used to play in these awkward positions hours on end, practicing, but also in recitals, playing in front of dozens and dozens of people. So you can see how this position can really put a kink in someone's cervical spine. And then Ellen and her family drank a lot of diet sodas. And what's in diet sodas? Aspartame, a known neurotoxin that they put in these soft drinks. And then, for Ellen, college was a wonderland of stress, anxiety. And that is what combines to make someone have migraines or some other ailment. But speaking of stress, a lady came into the office having seen dozens and dozens of doctors, the best of the best neurologists, and still dealing with the issue that's crippling her for the last 17 years, most of her adult life. She had paralysis, random paralysis of her arms and her legs. And it would cause cognitive dysfunction, it would cause slurred speech, everything would dysfunction in her body. And we looked at her neck. We took x-rays, and the top bone, as you can see here, the measurement is 3.3 and 5.6, and that shows that that top bone is shifted. And when that is shifted, the pressure on the brainstem is enormous. And so when that happens, everything neurologically shuts down. And so we took a new set of pictures after a series of adjustments, and the numbers are now 4.3 and 4.8, much closer to unison. And this woman has had amazing results. She has told us numerous times, I'm now living the life that I've always wanted to live, because she could not be a part of her daughter's lives. She feared holding her babies because she might drop them. And so this has dramatically improved her life, and so she brought her husband. Now, her husband at the time was focused on the wife. So he came in, and you can see a lot of deterioration at C5, C6. His issue was neck pain, starting to have some headaches and shoulder irritation. And so he waits a couple years, comes back. Now the symptoms are much worse. He has more headaches, more severe neck pain, and now the radiculopathy goes all the way to his hands, and it's affecting his grip strength. And as a plumber, that dramatically decreases his work ability. And you can see the x-rays now, there's damage throughout the neck spine. And then he gets under care. We start adjusting him, and after a series of adjustments, we take a new set of pictures, and every disc is thicker and has improved. But the fun fact for this story is no more arm pain, hand strength back to normal, and his daughter, Sophie, said, Daddy is happier now that you're adjusting him, Dr. Mosier. And I think that was the greatest compliment I've ever received. But now let's talk about Sophie. Same family, but Sophie dealt with social anxiety. She also dealt with pain in her legs if she played too hard. If she would go outside and run around on a playground the next day or that evening, she'd be screaming, she'd be crying due to the leg pain. And so we took x-rays and we looked at this, and you look here at L5 and the tailbone. So this is down here at the bottom, major wedge in this 8-year-old girl. After the series of adjustments, that disc is thicker, but you can also see how there's a smoother curve, where before, swayed back, not sitting where it should. So this is a family that continues to get their spines checked, even though insurance does not pay for their care, because they know the value of keeping their health a priority. And that is why in our office we don't allow dictation from insurance companies deciding the care that you or your loved ones are needing. Because what we have found is no dictation from the insurance companies allows better relationship between the doctor and the patient. So when is the best time for you or your loved ones to get your spine corrected? And I know we all have the power of choice. We have the freedom to choose what we do for the health of our friends, or of our family, of ourselves. And so I want to take a moment and say, what if? What if that disease, that subluxation, that misalignment gets worse and ends up becoming a disease in 6 months or 8 months? Wouldn't you regret knowing that you could have done something about it? On the other hand, 6 months from now, you invest in the most important asset that you have, your health, and you are healthier than ever. And you have your life back, and things have totally transformed. Wouldn't that feel wonderful knowing that you're doing everything that you possibly can for your health? Absolutely. So, how do you get the most benefit out of your care? And there's a few things that you should know. One, on your next visit, you are going to get a individualized care plan for your needs based on your spine condition. But here's a few tips to get the most benefit out of your care. The first is making your appointments. Now this is like, I wanted to make a cake for Ellen, and so I saw the ingredients, and I saw eggs, flour, sugar, and many other things, and I decided, well, I don't really like flour. Let's just double the sugar and cut out the flour, and I don't really have time to bake it for an hour at 350 degrees. Let's cook it at 500 degrees for 10 minutes. Now what I made is probably edible, but is it the cake that I was looking to make? And so that's the point that I'm making with making your appointments, because when we miss these key ingredients, these key pieces, you don't end up with a spine that you could have. And then the other is home care instructions. Doing your icing at home, making sure that inflammation stays at bay, and those rehab exercises that we will be giving you later on in your care. And the last tip is getting your family involved. Since you have watched the entirety of this video, we will waive the fee for any of your family members that live in your household to get their spines fully checked, and that is through our diagnostic technology, and that is through our examination and our x-rays. We waive that fee because you've watched this, and because we believe that families who are healthy together stay together. And they have to do this within 2 weeks. So schedule on your way out today, okay? And I want to end with this. I came across this birthday tradition that a family holds, where when you turn so many years old, you get so many wishes. So if you turn 8 years old, you get 8 wishes. If you turn 80 years old, you get 80 wishes. And so this dad, this particular year, was turning 41. And everyone was gathered, and the cake was sitting there, and it was time for him to show and share his wishes. So he pulls out this long list, and he starts going through it. And it says, I'm going to learn how to fly a plane this year. I'm going to take everyone to Disney World this year. And everyone's clapping, everyone's excited, and he goes through his whole list, and everyone's just celebrating. And then the following year, the same dad, the same family, a new cake, but same style of cake, a chocolate cake, and now he's turning 42. And it was time for him to share his wishes again. And so instead of pulling out this long list of wishes, he pulls out this little sliver of paper and says, my health. He was diagnosed with terminal cancer 6 months prior. And so when you have your health, you have many wishes. When you don't have your health, You only have one. And I will share with you that procrastination is the thief of health. And so my goal is for you to have many wishes for many years. Thank you for watching.